that should be it. Let's see. Alright, so I'm doing another one of these Hacktoberfest streams, because last time it was kind of fun. Yeah, so this time I will just continue working on the thing that I was doing last time, which is like an open source accounting software. So it's AirNumby. Let me see if I have. So it's a thing we started a few weeks ago, I think. Yesterday we had another meet in real life where we did some more coding towards this. And yeah, I figured let's do one online as well. This accounting software right now it does nothing, but it does it well. And right now we're gonna build like a company context, or organization context, let's call it. It's about whenever you be doing something like here, like track the accounts or do some sort of visualization, you always need to have some sort of company you're doing this for. So you don't want to aggregate data for all the companies you have in the accounting software, because the idea behind the accounting software is not actually going to be like a single company accounting software. It's going to be multiple account. Yes, that makes sense, I think. We kind of have something similar already. Like if you log out, you would log out, and even if you go to the dashboard right here, it will send you back to the login, because you need to be logged in. And the idea of today is to do another step behind that. Like if you don't have a company set up or configured to be used, we're gonna do just that. We're gonna create a form for you to pull in all the data about the organization that you want, and put it to the React context so that we have access to it inside every part of the application, because it's kind of crucial information. So yeah, so right now if we just do login here, doesn't matter, we go back to the dashboard. But we want to have something similar. As I mentioned, we don't actually want to see the dashboard right now. The goal is to redirect to some kind of /signup or organization creation something, so that we don't get this dashboard right away, but that instead of that we will get to, or probably like a settings page, I guess, where you would configure what sort of organization you want. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So I started to do, this is the auth context, which is pretty complex. We don't need to look into it too much. But it's basically something similar to what we're going to build right now. And that one's going to be organization context. So right now organization context is pretty slim. It's just like loading thing here. I'm thinking about how to show this. Oh yeah. Well, in the end, what we're gonna do is here in the app, which is like the most root component that we get into. What we have here is the auth provider that we saw. That was the complicated one, and then we do some stuff. But we can also do this organization context. No. How did I do it? We should do provider here, I guess. Let me see. So I guess context has two sides, consumer and provider. And I guess I designed this thing. Oh, here we go. This is how I've done it. So let's do something similar in the context. So like this, yeah. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. But instead of auth user, we're gonna have organization, I guess. Makes sense. We don't have organization, so let's create one. Right now I'm doing models here. I have just few. Let's add another one. Yeah, and sorry that I just jumped in and I assumed that you know what I'm doing from the last time. So yeah, feel free to call me on that and ask me to tell you more. Yeah, no, that was stupid. I was not supposed to do that. This is the interface we're trying to do. So we're gonna export interface and an organization, I guess. And let's just put some simple stuff here, like a name, organization number, and then maybe... Oh yeah, one thing we also want to do is have a link towards what's called chart of accounts. Kind of each company has a different chart of accounts where they do the accounting towards, which is not that important from the React perspective, but we want to have a link from this from this organization to this chart of account. So let's do that. Let's do chart of accounts, and it's gonna be like just the ID of the representative chart of account. Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing country as well. Can just type country code there. Maybe not. We'll see. Well, we can, because right now I'm in Sweden and we're doing this. The first thing where it's supposed to be a little bit usable is Sweden, because I'm doing it for myself, kind of. But so we're gonna like hardcode these two items, I think. But it's good that we have it here in the first place. So I'm gonna hide this, and what we're doing right now is we're gonna create this context, and let's call it org context. So right now we're saying create a context for organization, and as I mentioned, context has like two parts to it. The first one is the provider, which you would have traditionally quite high in the call tree of your items, and then that's the thing that like provides the context. And then you would have a consumer, and how you do that is normally you would just do nowadays you just do hook. So we could do use organization in this case, which would be just a function call. Yeah, sorry, export const. And in here we would just say, I guess, return use context, boom, and then org context. Could that work? I think this is it. And then we're gonna see how we're gonna use it in a minute. Yeah. So let's not. I shouldn't have done that now if we're not gonna use it right away. But I've done it, so that's good. So this is not gonna be. Sorry. Sorry. This is not actually going to be organization context, but this is going to be the organization provider. It looks good. And what we want to do is to get inspired by the other provider that I wrote. Right, that's how you do it. So I'm just gonna steal this code and talk about it a little bit. Of course it's not out of context, but it's org context, and then the value should be, yeah, current organization. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna do props here. So the idea about this kind of provider that I'm doing, I realize I'm jumping all over the place, sorry about that, is that it's gonna either like when it's loading, it's not going to show anything. Otherwise, it's just going to show the children. So for now, let's just show the children. Like so. Cool, that makes sense. And then we can use this already. No, we can't because we have this thing. Let's just put null there. So here we created a context. And we said either in the context you have organization or you have null, which makes sense. Because either you're in the situation that you just opened the application for the first time ever and you don't have organization, so you will have null there, and then we're gonna do something else. Or you're in the situation that you already have an organization, and then yeah, we're just gonna draw the children. Loading thing, let's do it in a minute. So, if we go back to the app, here we saw the use of the auth provider. So in very similar case, we're gonna do the organization provider here. Boom. Boom. Yeah. As you can see, nothing really changed here. It still works. Because we're not really doing anything here. But what we could do, what we maybe should do, is do like a loading. So we're gonna do this and start it with true. So when it's loading, because we need to do some stuff, like probably go to the database, in this case Firestore, to like fetch the current organization that we're working with. And while we're doing this, while we like going to the database, fetching the organization data, we don't want to show like a dashboard, because that would be, you know, you would just flick the dashboard and flick away. That's not nice. So what you normally do, you would do like a spinner thing, right, where it's like loading to let the user know that something's happening. So this is exactly what we're going to do. So if it's loading, let's return loading instead. Here we go, that's the spinner, awesome. And notice that this is a really powerful tool you can use. Like, you have this context and it will show the children, but it's kind of a way to, and this is the provider and these are the children of the provider. So if it's not loading, it's just gonna do this, right, which is like the actual application itself. But if it is loading, it's just gonna show the spinner and nothing in here is gonna run. Which is kind of amazing, because you can use that for many things. Like, you could basically, now you can rely that anywhere down here in the application you've done the loading, you're done with the loading. So either if the organization is null at that point, you know that it's that person doesn't have the organization and you need to do something about it. And if the organization is not null, then you know that it's the actual organization and you don't need to do any loading anymore. So that's pretty powerful, I think. Cool. Well, we don't have a way to set this. Well, let's do like a, experiment. So use effect is another hook of React. This guy will basically run this code, whatever you type here. Type me, please. Whenever this array, the second argument, changes, or anything in the second argument. If you provide nothing in there, that means that this is going to run only once, the first time we are like drawing this provider. So this is exactly what we want. Yeah, so like, let's do this. Let's console log I'm running just for fun. Boom. And then if we look in here in the console, you can see that we get I'm running, but we get it only once, right? That's the trick. we get it only once. Cool, that's good. But now instead of I'm running, let's do set timeout. And then let's say that we're gonna set loading to false, like it finished loading after, I don't know, 3 seconds. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So we're gonna click this, and then 1, 2, 3, and this will go to the dashboard. So this is kind of nice, but it's not useful at all. But it kind of simulates the flow we want to do. So in here, instead of doing the timeout, we're gonna do something smarter. Like we're gonna actually fetch the organization. And to do that, first we need to get a current user to figure out what is that person's organization. Oops. I think it's yourself. Yeah. Let's see. So let's get rid of this for now. I'll just console log what we have in this guy. I should keep the console open for now. So it's an object, it says some stuff. User dot. This is wrong. It should be user data. Boom. Not here. I guess this is of the user. Right? It should be user data. Not that nonsense. Let's see. Why are we still getting this? Did I save it? I probably saved it incorrectly. That's okay. Just gonna clear it in a database. Let me get there real quick. I'm gonna just pull it there right in a second. Cool. So this is our database. Has a bunch of stuff. And it's doing some nonsense now. Oh yeah, it's loading. So users, this is a user. No, look at that, it's empty. So it shouldn't do user data nonsense here. Why is that? So I guess it's in the out context somewhere where we get this. Oh, here we go. That's more like it, I think. Yes, user data. Well, and if we look at user data, it's empty. So that's not that good, right? But if we look at what user data can contain, it can contain current company. So it doesn't have that. But let's do something cool. So here, in our organization context, this is the file we've been touching so far. Yes. I'm thinking what we want to do. So we're gonna send a current user here, and basically if current user data current company exists, so like if this exists, then we're gonna do something, but we're not there yet. So let's just do implement me. So here we would go to the database and fetch the actual company information and put it to the context, right? So that's good. And then also, yeah, right, we're here. Else, if there is no current company, we don't need to go to the database because we know there isn't one. So we're gonna do two things. We're gonna set loading to false because we're not gonna do anything more. Before that, we also gonna yeah, let's do that. We need to have a state somewhere which will hold the current company, which we can set and unset. So we can do here is, I guess, organization set organization equals use state. Boom. Let's do the diamond thing. I bet it has a name. And again, we're gonna say this is either organization or null, and we're gonna init it with null, which is fine. And then trick here is that here in the provider we're gonna put the whatever's in organization. So yeah, so I guess we could do set organization to null. Let's do that. That's kind of safe. So we're setting the organization to null and setting loading to false, which makes sense. So loading will be not true, so this will disappear, and we should see the dashboard again, right? Well, this is already pretty nice. We haven't done this part, but this user doesn't have an organization, so we wouldn't even see it. So let's do something nicer. If we go back to the app, we have some routes here, like, you know, if you go to login, do a login page. If you go to bookkeeping, do a bookkeeping dashboard. If you go anywhere else, do a dashboard page. This is the dashboard page. Like if we go to bookkeeping, you see the URL change here to bookkeeping. So this is this route, and it will draw something else. What we want to do is create this kind of sign up. Let's do the sign up route. Boom, path, and then do boom, sign up. I guess that makes sense. And then if you look here, oh, it's kind of clever. You did it correctly, nearly. Yeah, makes sense. Let's put it up here because it's more connected to the login flow. And then if we have this route, I'm going to get to what the private routes means in a sec. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So now if we go to sign up, we're gonna get nothing, right? Because the page is nothing right now. Right? There's nothing in here. Like if we would put something, we will get something here. But let's build a page for the sign up first. So to do that, I'm gonna go to my pages folder here, create a new file called sign up page t6, and then yes, and then yeah, let's just put sign up for now, just to see that this thing works. Boom. Cool, this works. Let's talk about what the private route and the regular route is. The regular route comes from the router, the React router, which is like a library that helps you go to different URLs, because it's not actually going to different URLs. Traditionally, these different URLs would request the different resources from a server. But in this case, we're just doing it on the front end, and it's still the same, you know, one-page application. And this is more like a nicety that it shows the correct place. Yeah, so that's good. But because I didn't want to put everywhere checks like, is the user authenticated? If not, go to the login page. I created this component called private route, and if you look at it, it's kind of similar to what we've tried to do with the context. Like you get children, which is whatever's inside, and the rest of arguments that we're gonna send to the route. Route is the basic one that comes from the router, so this will just do the, so in most cases it will just do the normal route thing and it's just gonna work. But we also check in the current user here, and if the current user isn't set, we're gonna redirect to login. Right? That's pretty sweet. But because we're using the contexts of the auth user, that's the only reason we can afford to do this. Let me say why in the sec. Because if you look at the auth context, this is kind of messy, you don't need to care about that. But we're not drawing the children when we're loading. Because the thing is, if you would came up to that page, it would start looking for the user, but while it's looking for the user is null, right? And then it would go to this place and redirect you to the login page, and then it would fetch the user, right? And then it's too late already, because you don't want to be like redirecting here and back all the time. But because we're using this provider, what's going to happen here, of context, right? While this is loading, I guess we can drop this down, because it's always null there. Right, because what I've just done, this loading, if it's true, we're gonna return here and we're never gonna get here. So it's always false here, so this is not needed, this check. So only when we're done loading, like we checked if we have the user actually, we're gonna draw the children. And the children includes the private route. So the private route will be only shown and only checked after we finish the loading, so after we've got the user. Or not, yeah, that's correct. Like if the current user is null, we can rely that it's actually null, that it's not like loading for nothing. Yeah, this is pretty neat. So I'm thinking let's extend this private route, because what we want to do is basically 99% of the application you need to have not only be authenticated user, but you need to have a specific company or organization that you're working with. So I'm thinking let's do that. Let's do current organization equals use organization. Did we define it? Let's see. Organization context. We did, right? So we're just fetching this context. So this is the second part of the context. Like one is the provider, which is in the tree somewhere high up, and then you have the consumer, which is where you actually need this. And the reason why you would use context over props, because you could do something very similar with props, right? Like these props that you pass down to child items, is because you would have to send the props everywhere. Like this prop would have to go to all the components. And if you don't want to do that, you can do that. You can use context instead. Cool. So we're checking the organization. And notice that we're not getting it from the props here, but we're getting it from this hook, from the context. And if we don't have current organization, boom, we're gonna redirect as well. We're gonna redirect to that sign up page. Boom. This is pretty neat. Yes. So this now is fine. Guess it actually works. Like if we go here, we're gonna end up in sign up here, which is correct. We're not gonna end up on the login page because we are logged in, but we don't have the organization, so we're gonna go to sign up. That's correct. One problem here though is that if you're not logged in and you come here, you will be fine because the private route isn't here. So what we want to do is put private route here as well. But the issue with this is that we just implemented that in the private route you need to have a company as well, the organization. And maybe we don't want that. Well, here we don't want that because here we want to do the actual sign up flow. So let's go here and let's introduce another probe, which we're gonna call something like, I don't know, I'm thinking like skip organization or something, like to signify that you don't need organization. Org not needed. This is fine, I guess. So if not org not needed, double negative is horrible. But we wanna. But the reason why we want this is that not needed, like this needs to be negative, is that in most cases you don't want to send it in, but in some, it's just one path you want to send it in, so that's why it needs to be negative. Because otherwise we are kind of taking advantage of this. When it's undefined, it's going to be falsy, so it's going to be false that organization is not needed, meaning organization is needed. Sorry, this is a bit confusing. Yep. So this should work. And then if we go back here and say org not needed equals true, boom, and this works now. So on the sign up, it doesn't redirect us anymore. We're on a sign up. It's all good. It's all good. Cool. So this is fun. Let's. Oh, first let me back up what we've done so far. Last time I lost nearly all the changes I've done because I was too hesitant to revert stuff. Whatever, not important. Okay, so let's look at the sign up page. What do we want to do here? So now it's just like a design thing, which I very much suck at. But let's do center here, at least that I can tell we should do. Yeah. Here we can do like H2, maybe. Oh yeah, one more thing. Yeah, one more thing. I tend to use texts, I think. Use text or text singular. Whenever I'm showing up some user text, I tend to use something else, not put the text inside the code. So then there is just one single file, in this case this one, where you need to look at and change all the text. So let's say, well, let's call it new organization. Boom. What else would we want to say? Let's say new organization description. You want to probably say something like also set up so you can start doing numbers magic. Sounds fun, I think. Yeah. And then if we go back to the sign up page, we can change this to be sign up. What did I say? New organization. Boom. And then new organization description here. And it's gonna be boom. This is gonna be paragraph. So this is less cool. What's this? I don't know. But that's because we're doing center here. So if we do flex direction, this is just column. Cool. And if you wonder what this is just a Bootstrap library, like CSS library. So it gives you a bunch of nice, classes that you can use, and they do useful stuff like this. Alright, this is pretty neat. Next thing is to collect some basic information about the organization, actually. So let's do this. Let's get the organization and set organization. I'm thinking if I should use Formic or not here. Like, Formic is a library to do forms. I have mixed feelings about it. It's pretty useful most of the time, but sometimes I find it easier to just do everything yourself, or like the forms. So let's do it ourselves, I guess. We can initialize it with empty thing. Notice that we're not doing or null here. Why are you not happy here? Oh yeah. So let's do that. Let's do... Oh, that doesn't need to be here. So it doesn't like that the organization is empty, because it has some required fields like name and... Is it all of them? Yeah, probably all of them, right? And then charter accounts. Boom. And then we can use this. Cool. So this is our organization. This looks pretty neat. Yes. And here we're gonna do the form. I guess one more thing we should do is do container, I think is the word. Let's see. Boom, boom. Container. Yes. So what does the container do? Let me show. U is if you do whatever, right? It makes it not to be too wide, so that on the wide screen it's still gonna only fill, this area, so it doesn't look too bad. Yep. Set. What did I do? Let's just refresh. Awesome. We probably should do a different text color. Yeah, but who cares? So we can do a form. Boom. And then we're gonna collect all those items. So you're gonna do like name, country, and so on. So let's first define the labels. Boom. Name, country, maybe we're not gonna do country, but we can have the text key. We're just gonna hardcode the country, I think, at this moment. So we said name, organization number. This looks good, I think. So actually, let's do here C, and let's do here. What's the one we're using? I can check here. Bus 2021. Like later on we could do some sort of, you choose a country, and then if a country has more than one, if a country has more than one of these chart of accounts, you get to choose the chart of accounts. But right now it's just hard-coded this thing, so that, to make it simpler. That's good. And we can do input. And we can say type text, and then value will be organization dot name. Boom. And we do one more for the org number. Yeah, it's also text. Although it says number, there are like some non-number characters in it, like hyphen and stuff. This is alright. Let's look on how to style this properly. If you look at Bootstrap, input, they have some classes that are pretty good for this. Yup. And those classes I don't see. Like obviously you always have this thing and then there's a code for this. I was looking for something more with a label, not like this. Because I'm too lazy to think. Well, that's not me. Okay, well this is the closest one that we've got, which is this one. So it's label. That makes sense, let's do that. So you're gonna do... Why do we need impact group then? Oh yeah, input group is this thing. Well, maybe we are in the wrong thing, we're in the input group, of course. So that's why it's doing the... Input group is like this thing, when you have something, like a label or something like integrated within the input. But we want more like traditional, this kind of basic stuff. Okay, so you do like this to do that. Yes. So you, as you might heard before, React doesn't like classes. No, it's a reserved keyword in JavaScript, so that's why you can't use class. But it has a class name instead of that. Boom. No, wait. I meant class name with capital N. Boom. So that's good. This is not necessary in my opinion. So let's drop this. And let's just do text name. Did we not call it name? What are you doing to me? Maybe we need to. And then input, usually it doesn't like that it's open, right? Yes. So placeholder, that can be text name. Nope. Don't want that. Boom. Go back here. Ooh, it's not nicer. There's some error. Let's see. Oh, something's not happy. Something does not like what I'm doing here. Okay, more. Okay, let's comment out these two so that we know it's not. Let's see. Let's clear this up and do it one more time to get the error. And very first error, object is not valid as a React child. Okay. Oh yeah, here, right? Because we're doing object, but we want to do name. Obviously. Well, this is not nice. That's also not my problem. I mean, yeah, well, let's not put the placeholder then. I guess we still want that label. No, makes sense. Yep. And then let's do one more. Oops. Need to do that. So this is gonna be AirNumby. Yeah, it looks pretty good, but it's not email, it's text. And yeah, what else? I guess we lost the values because I deleted this thing. So let's put a value here, which is gonna be, yep. Yep. Cool stuff, cool stuff. So now we can type and nothing happens. Which is if you're using, what's called, if you're doing it yourself and not using ForMake, that's your life. So we need to do the onChange thing, so let's do that. Boom, onChange. We get an event, and then we want to set organization equals whatever the organization was, but also name equals value? No, target value. Yes, I think this is it. So here it should start working. Yes, we can type there. And we need to do something very similar down here. Boom. Instead of name, this is gonna be the AirNumby. Boom, perfect. So this should also work. Yeah, perfect. Now we need like a button, right? To say submit. Button. We have a submit already. We do not. Let's create one. Or like save, I guess. Save you can use whatever. Or create in this case. Boom. This is pretty nice. Boom, we have the button. Let's put up some styling a little bit. Something like button primary, I guess. Horrible. Exactly what we wanted. And let's paste it a little bit. That's fine. Let's do that. And then here we're gonna do on submit and call handle submit. Nice. What does the handle submit do? It gets E, and E is, I believe, I don't remember. Let's check. Let's see. Yeah, but what is it? React form event HTML. Yeah. So something like React form event HTML form. Boom. So first thing we want to do is prevent default. Why are we doing this? Because the default behavior in HTML forms is that they're gonna submit the form to the server, to the backend. But because we live in this JavaScript world nowadays, we don't do that anymore. We process everything locally and do AJAX call, like non-blocking calls on the backend, like on the, yeah, I guess backend, what's the better word? Like on the back side of the application, so you don't see anything happening here. Yep. I should do some basic validation. Yes, we should do some basic validation. So let's write to do validate, and I'm not gonna do it. That sounds good. Now let's get to the B. Like basic validation, I mean like non-empty name and stuff like that. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Then I guess we want doc reference. And I think you do doc. You do doc. Get doc. No. Then you do just doc. Or what do you do? Yes. And DB. And then organizations. Yeah, right. So we want to do collection here. Boom. So right now what I'm trying to do is to make this, to actually write to the database when we submit. Yeah, that makes sense. And do we get to, what do we do here? Create. My memory sucks. Let's look at the documentation instead. Go to docs, here. Build Firestore. Cloud Firestore. Yes. Add and manage data. Add data. Boom. We do set doc. That's not what we want to do because we don't have the key. We want to add doc. Yup. 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 Yup, yup, yup. Yeah. Add a document. Yeah, exactly. This is what we want. Okay, no. Here we go. Add document, and that's how you do it. Cool. So what we're going to do next is add doc. Professor. Boom. You do call ref. And then you do the document, which is organization. That makes sense, I guess. So we need to get this. And we need to await this, I believe. Yeah, we can't await because this is not a sync, so let's change this to be a sync. And for now, let's just console log this guy. Boom. This looks pretty good. Right? Right. So let's do test 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Create. Did we not do prevent default? We did not because of this. Look at that. What just happened was that it refreshed, right? That was the exact thing that I was talking about to avoid the prevent default, that it's doing the same thing. That is because we're doing this. Boom. And we were not using the actual event. But this time we should. This one. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Now it failed because I have insufficient permissions to do that, which is what I expected. So let's go to the thing. Let's go to rules. So how the database works is that you don't get to do everything. It's kind of locked down from the beginning. You don't get to read and add stuff. But right now let's add permission for the off user to create organizations. There's one more thing that you let's define a method. So how do you do this function? Can you do this? I think. Damn it. I'm trying to write a function to check if it's authenticated user. I guess this should work. So first let's just do this, but this is not good enough. Because if we do this, anybody can write and read any organization, not just the one you created for yourself. So I need to come up with a way to change that. First of all, let's just do create here. Because right now, what I'm thinking is we're gonna make people create organizations only, you know, if they're authenticated, that's good enough for them to create organizations. But to like update, you need to be owner of that organization. So there will be extra checks there. And same for the reading. You can only read it if you're the owner of that organization. But that I'm gonna do sometimes in the future. Anyways, we've done this, and then we can do, well, let's do this. Firebase deploy only Firestore. Boom. So this should take the rules change that I've just done, push it to the thing. Complete it. Nice. So now if we submit this, we get this awesome stuff. And if we look at the data, and I guess refresh. Yes. Why is it slow? Because it's always loading this. Organizations, this is the organization. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Yeah, I'm thinking how to do this. Let's not do the claims yet. What we need to do later is to create some sort of custom claims on that user, that the user have access to this organization. But I'm not gonna do it right now. Right now I'm just gonna get the ID here and update the user as well. Like change the user's default organization. So how do we do that? Current user use of, that's it. And after we've done that, we're gonna update doc. Yes, update document. Wait, and then const user doc.ref document, and it's gonna be doc users and then current user ID. Boom. What's that? DB, of course. You do not like this. Why do you not like that? Oh yeah, because you're not sure. Trust me, it's defined. I guess you could do like a question mark or something. I like to do that instead. So let's do that. User doc.ref. And then what we're gonna update is current. No, what's the user data key? Current company. Aha, this should be current organization, I guess. Current organization. Boom. Current organization equals edit.org.id. Boom. Cool, this is perfect, I think. So let's try one more time. Test 2. Organization number. Boom. We need to do some sort of spinner or something. Did I not click it? We definitely need to do like a spinner or something. Okay, I don't know what's up. What's up, man? Maybe stuff about not happy. Yeah, look at that. We created all these organizations. And we even updated this thing. but it just never stopped. Oh, it did stop. It does nothing, right? That's the thing. It currently does nothing. Like, oh yeah, and now we're just hanging because of the bad luck. Or not the bad luck, but if we looked at the organization context, we forgot to do one more thing, which is here, right? To do implement me, we are not doing this, so let's do that. And let's do get doc, boom, doc, boom, and that's gonna be db. Do we have db? We do not have db. Let's get db. And if you're curious what the db object is, that's just a Firestore object, kind of initialized correctly. I'm doing it somewhere else so that I don't need to worry about it every time. Organizations, and then yeah, do that. So this is the org. Yeah, and then we want to do set organization, and then org dot. Oh yeah, we need to await this guy. Org dot. I think it doesn't like data. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't like async stuff here. Why it doesn't like async stuff is because useEffect is not. You're not supposed to do async stuff. But we don't need to do async stuff. Let's still do async stuff, but in a little bit different manner. So what we're gonna do here is then we're gonna get org, and then we're gonna do this, boom, and we're gonna do this, set organization or data. Cool. How do I call this? Is this a function? Yeah, okay. I think. Let me live. Let's do ascending. I will solve that out later. And then set loading to be false as well. Boom. No, I'm doing something wrong here. Let's figure it out. Come on, man. Don't be lazy. So, let's console log the org thing. And I guess I'm reading it wrong, right? What's in the org? Something. Do I get to do org data? I think I can do org data. It's a function, so I need to call this, and then we get the thing. So it should be like this, I guess. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this is really good. And now if we go like here, it works because we already have organization in this place. Okay, so let me do it here. Another to do, clean up, get rid of any here. So what I want to do next is just like cast this correctly to be like a proper value and not use the S. There are ways to do that, so I'm gonna do that. Also, what we want to do is catch errors here. Do I have toast here already? Wait. Toast error. I do. Cool. Do I have text here? I do not have text here. So I'm just gonna toast Yep. Toast the text. Do I have like a general error? What am I doing here? Error. Boom. And then console error with the... we can do the whole error object, I guess. Well, this is pretty neat, I think. We still need to do this, but I'm gonna do that some other time. Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this up here. I hope this wasn't too boring, and hopefully a little bit useful. Yeah, but thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. And I need to try to figure out how to stop this thing now. And here's the button. Bye!